Hey, this is Matt once again with the Bets in the video, and this is a paid request for Sean. Thank you so much for that. For those interested requesting any type of videos, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour or a full playthrough, commentary, tier list, reaction, ranking, like I said, movie review, re-review, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it. PayPal is the best way to do it. Do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And for those who sent them, thank you. I do appreciate it. Now, this is for the 1982 film My Favorite Year, which, to be honest, I had never heard of this film before. And when the film came out, it got some good reviews. And Peter O'Toole got nominated for an Oscar. And I can see why. He's definitely my favorite part of the film. He's definitely the standout of the film. It's directed by Richard Benjamin, who he acted in quite a few films, but he was also became a director. Not just this, but he did The Money Pit with Tom Hanks. I would say that's probably the film I liked the most he directed. I think he also did City Heat with Burt Reynolds and Clint Eastwood. The film that there was a stunt that went wrong and Burt Reynolds got fucked up physically for a long while. Really, really affected his life and career. But the film stars Mark Lynn Baker. I'm like, I know this guy looks familiar. I'm like, that's why. If you ever seen the TV show Perfect Strangers, there's Bronson Pinchot as Belky, and then there's the other guy. Mark Lynn Baker is the other guy. Was it Larry? It's been like 20... No. It's been like 30 years since I've seen Perfect Strangers. I remember the theme song, but... And pretty much, Mark Lynn Baker, he plays a guy who's a writer on this variety comedy show. It takes place in 1954, as he calls it, his favorite year. And it's about a time when he's doing this variety show for this guy. Now, if I understand, this is very, 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 very loosely based on Mel Brooks, an experience he had as a writer, and the guy who visited on the show was Errol Flynn. Now, granted, Mel Brooks said, "Well, nothing really happened. He was there, and then he left, and that's it." But what could have been? So in this case, as they're doing this comedy variety show, and Joseph Bologna, or Bologna, however you want to call it, star of Alligator 2, The Mutation, among others. He's kind of the Sid Caesar, but not really, of the movie, because he's the star of the show. The guest is going to be this swashbuckler star of the 30s and 40s, Alan, played by Peter O'Toole. He's trying to do like his suave bit of Errol Flynn, but he's also a guy who's a drunk, and he's not the most reliable, but Mark Lynn Baker is like his #1 fan. So Mark then says, "Hey, I'll take care of him. Make sure he's not as drunk. Make sure he gets to the shows in time, the rehearsals, up until the live show." While that's happening, of course, him and Peter O'Toole bond with each other. Mark Lynn Baker has this girl that he's trying to get with, and you have a little bit of lovey-dovey stuff between them. Joseph Bologna, the star of the show, there's this guy who... Cameron Mitchell portrays this guy who's like mad that you keep portraying me or a version of me on your show. So Cameron Mitchell, his goons keep trying to sabotage rehearsals of the show up until the live show. So you have some of that going on. And then again, Mark Lynn Baker and Peter O'Toole, they hang out with each other. So whether he kind of has to take them to dinner with his family, his mom, and other relatives. There's a bit where Peter O'Toole getting drunk and wanted to see like his daughter that he hasn't seen in a while or someone else. And hey, let's go down that party. So he's drunk and let's repel. And Martin Lane Baker's like, no, no, don't do it. So he repels anyway. And Martin Lane Baker thinks Peter O'Toole's dead. But then these party doors kind of look over and go, you remember that guy, that swashbuckler guy? I think he's down below. He's below us. Yeah, I know he's below us. He's an actor. No, no, no. I think he's below us right now. So shenanigans happen until you get to the live show. And it's one of those movies where I thought it was okay. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay. Very much elevated by Peter O'Toole. He brings a great sense of suave, charisma, humor, even when he's drunk. Like his buddy, who's like a chauffeur, talks about how Peter O'Toole has a drunk suit. So when he's out of it, he's kind of hung up. They just tear the suit off. It easily comes off because it's his drunk suit. Some lines that he has where Mark Lynn Baker's talking about all the women, how come they didn't work out, and he's like, well, I didn't marry any of them. They married me. Or there's a bit when he's at the studio, he goes into the bathroom and this lady goes, this is the women's bathroom. Well, he says, no. She says to him, this is for ladies only. And you hear a zip and Peter O'Toole goes, so's this. But every now and again, I have to run a little water through it. I thought that was really funny, and Peter O'Toole sold that well. Mark Lynn Baker does fine. I could see why he didn't get to star in a whole lot of movies, but he wasn't bad either. Like, he was fine. I would say you may get more out of this depending on how you feel about that era of the 1950s and the variety shows and the whole doing the rehearsals. If you much more nostalgic for that, you may get a bit more out of this than I did. I know some reviews say, I think even Sean said it's hilarious, it's funny. There are moments that I chuckle, but it's mainly because of Peter O'Toole. This stuff with Joseph Bologna and him dealing with the director and such, I'm like, I could go, whatever. Didn't love it, didn't hate it. Cameron Mitchell giving him a hard time, didn't. There's a bit where Joseph Bologna takes like a nice expensive piece of clothing and throws it out the window, and Cameron Mitchell gets pissed off about it. And again, I'm indifferent. To take it, to leave it. It's the scenes between Peter O'Toole and Mark Lynn Baker that I think are the best parts of the film. It was also nice to see that Mark Lynn Baker's mom is played by Lainey Kazan. I remember her because she's the very nosy neighbor in Harry and the Hendersons. So I recognize, because that's a film I watched so many times when I was a kid. Harry and the Hendersons. I love the film, so I might say who I think it is. Oh shit, it is cool. Nice to see her in another movie. And there's some fun little moments. There's a bit where, like I said, he kind of is forced to take Peter O'Toole to his family dinner. And of course, Mark Lynn Baker's family keeps asking him these questions and about scandals and things of that nature. And that's when Peter O'Toole thinks about his daughter that he hasn't seen in a while. Now, I do think there's certain, getting more into spoilers, I do think there's certain aspects that they don't really do a whole lot, or they bring up, but then they don't really pan anything out from it. For example, there's this bit of a lovey-dovey story between Mark Lynn Baker and this lady who works at the same comedy variety show. And there's some cute moments. There's a moment where he's trying to teach her about comedy. It's like, well, if people don't know this and that, then they get like an accordion or something. So he's trying to teach her how to tell a joke. She can't do it. So he offers her money. He's like, "What's this for?" "For a new accordion." And that played out better than I'm making it sound, and how I might have screwed things up. If so, I apologize. But like halfway through the film, they kiss. But I swear to God, like you never really see much of the girl in the second half of the film. Now maybe she's in the background once in a while, but like nothing else of that love story is really done. It's like, well, we finished it. They kissed and now no more. I'm like, but you still have like 45 minutes left of the movie. And there's like nothing else much to it other than, oh, she's in the background, and like there's no more to that story. So like you built it up, but in the second half you do nothing else with that piece of the story. I just thought that was weird. Same with Peter O'Toole's daughter. Seems to be like an important part of the story. This is one of his big regrets. It seems like the thing he really wants to do is see her. But I swear to God, they never showed the daughter in this movie. Like you hear at the very end that Peter O'Toole went to her and did all this, but show. Don't tell it. Show it. Show him look at the daughter and contemplating, and maybe they did and it went by my head and I missed it and I apologize, but really, if you don't make that part of the story, then really make that part of a story. He sends her a gift, she looks at it, and she kind of, maybe kind of warms her heart a little bit, but sad that the dad won't come and actually talk to her. Have that little nudges here and there until eventually, like, I mean, I know this sounds stupid or random to say this, but The Rock, Sean Connery, you have the bit with him and his daughter, and you see little pieces of that. Him and talking to his daughter and wanting to connect with her, and like you see little bits here and there. Not a whole lot, but enough though to make it as a point that this goes through in the story. But this, it just like the fact that I swear to God, we never see the daughter, and if we did, then it was so quick and fleeting it passed my brain. That I don't know. And considering it's called My Favorite Year, for some reason I thought it was going to be like this year-long friendship that we're going to see between Mark Linn-Baker and Peter O'Toole. Like they do this live show, they kept in touch, and then maybe he starts to work with Peter O'Toole as an assistant, and this is my lifelong dream. You have the ups and downs, and despite all the ups and downs, it was my favorite year. But no, he says it's his favorite year for the beginning, and then this just takes place like within a week. So, like you can almost say more like my favorite week instead of my favorite year. Because like, other than at the very beginning when he's mentioning, stuff I liked back then in 1954, afterward, like, that whole thing of being his favorite year kind of drops from the story. Maybe it's not a big deal to people, but like I said, they go through stuff like the dinner with the family. There's a bit where Peter O'Toole's like, let's do something crazy, and they ride a horse. Nothing really comes of it, it's just they ride a horse for a little bit, and then that's it. There's him getting drunk and repelling, and Mark Linn-Baker tries to stop him. And then ultimately, in the third act, Peter O'Toole finds out that it's going to be live TV, and he's freaked out by it. And there's also going to be an audience in front. It's like, I haven't been in front of an audience in decades. So he freaks out, and Mark Linn-Baker's like, come on, you're this and that. And Peter O'Toole gives a really good speech about, I'm not a silly goddamn hero, I never was. And Mark Linn-Baker's, well, you were mine. You were my hero. So at the end of the day, when the show starts, the live show starts, Cameron Mitchell's goons start actually beating up Joseph Bologna, but the audience and TV audience and the actual audience they think is part of the show. PO2 comes back. He decides to help out. He swings in and fights like a swashbuckler. Him and Joseph Bologna beat all the bad guys up. It's a fun scene, you know, with PO2 really get into it, getting some punches and swordplay in there, and the audience think it's part of the show, and they're throwing people around, and they're successful, and it's a rousing success, and then pretty much PO2 is being applauded by the crowd. And then the ending is just Mark Lynn Baker's voice saying about how, oh, and he went and saw his daughter, and that's it. It felt like an abrupt ending. It felt like a really abrupt ending. Because, okay, let's see Peter O'Toole talk to his daughter finally. Let's have a final goodbye between Mark Lynn Baker and Peter O'Toole, where they shake each other's hands, or maybe Peter O'Toole will keep in touch with him, and maybe Mark Lynn Baker will no longer be ashamed of his family because of X, Y, and Z reasons, or he'll show his new girlfriend to his family, or like what you would expect. Like, okay, PO2's going to get in the limo, and they shake and hug, and he goes off, and then Mark Lynn Baker's with the girl, and let's have, you know, a wide shot where they go down, and the camera pans out, and you see the 1954 cityscape to really show us more of this time period that's your favorite year. It just, like, the ending just felt, like I said, very abrupt. Maybe that's just me. And it was slightly humorous at times, but it wasn't a comedy I laughed my ass off with. So I would say this: if you like Peter O'Toole, it's definitely worth a look. Like I say, he was nominated for an Oscar. I did why. He's just very energetic. Every scene he really comes in and steals the show. Even this bit where early on where he's drunk and I can move, and he does his tumble and he lands his feet right in between the projector. Like, nice timing. Not timing, but guess choreography that his legs land right there, right in between perfectly the projector or whatever that's on the table that the other people are watching some footage of. If you're a Perfect Strangers fan and you're curious to see Mark Lynn Baker, and I think it was his first role because it says introducing Mark Lynn Baker. If you want to see that, or if the time period, the 50s, intrigued you, you know, it's not bad. I don't think it's a bad or horrible film. It's, like I said, just okay, but not a film I would ever see again, if that makes sense. It's just okay to me. Don't love it, don't hate it. It's there. I've seen better, seen worse. That's just my opinion. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye for now.